Hello and welcome to another episode of The Hot Seat. I'm your host, Matt Randall from Timberwolf Coaching, and I'm here today with Tim Benoit from Timeless Images and Memories. And we're here today to talk about social media marketing, in particular videos, which Tim is an expert at. He's a small business video producer. And hi Tim, welcome.
Well, thank you, Matt. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here.
And what we'd like to kind of do is to talk of how effective the small businesses can use social media.
Well, perfect, but could you first define what is social media?
Sure.
I mean, for those people, maybe the older crowd who's not on Facebook yet, what does it mean?
Well, I usually say social media is a road sign. Now let me tell you why I say that. I use an analogy of my grandfather, and he had a store in town, and he went out to the highway and put a sign on the highway. And that sign was hopefully to induce people to stop by a store. And if people came in the store, they'd spend time looking around, talking to him, and finding what he was all about. Now today, I tell people the social network marketing is putting your sign on the new highway, and that's the internet highway. And I tell people to make a small sign so they'd come into their store. And for lots of us, our store today is our website.
Now, do you mean a literal store, like an e-commerce part of the website where people can shop online?
Yeah, it may be, or it may be e-commerce. It may be just your website, whatever your website is made up. It possibly can even be a blog, but it is something where you want to direct them to so they can do more investigating about who you are.
Okay. Now, you produce videos,
yes,
and you specialize in small businesses.
Yes.
How are you finding that they use these videos today to market their business?
Right. What they do is they try to find different social networks. Now, there are a ton of networks out there, but what I suggest to them what they should do is actually look at their product or their service and find that network that really fits them. For instance, Facebook. One of the largest growing segments to Facebook is 55 and over, and a large population is women. So if you have, let's say, a business that is doing maybe clothing, or you may be doing house interior design, you may want to use Facebook because that's where your audience is going to be. And you shouldn't necessarily look at just the largest social network, but look at that. Do a little research. Who uses that network? If you were a professional service organization, you may want to use LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is a little bit more catered to the professional marketplace. So research on who is it that you want to put your road sign out to, and look into that service to make sure that it applies to your audience. And that's one of the big parts.
So Facebook applies to a different audience from LinkedIn.
Right.
And before I totally leave that, I think I heard a rumor that Facebook is looking to do more with video. Is that correct? How is that working?
Well, it's working pretty well now, and it's one of the things that you can use very well. Obviously, you want to maybe use YouTube if you do videos, business videos.
Right. Is Facebook trying to compete directly with YouTube?
I don't think they're trying to compete directly. I think they're trying to offer another service, an enhanced service, and attract more people to use it. Because if you have, again, let's say a painter, and I actually had this happened to me personally. I had a painter who said, I just do the Portsmouth, New Hampshire area, so I don't need to broadcast this all over the place all over the world. And I said, it won't cost you any more, and it won't be any harder to broadcast it over the world. And actually what happened is he had a grandmother that was in an old Victorian house in Portsmouth, and she wanted to get it painted. Now what happened is she used to email her grandson, who was in the Marines, who was in the Philippines. So they're talking back and forth, and one day this Marine that's in the Philippines says, Grandma, I hear you wanted to paint your house. I just saw this video of painter that's looking in Portsmouth. So in fact, he got the job in Portsmouth by going to the Philippines and back to Portsmouth by using this social network.
A referral from the Philippines.
Yes.
To Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Yes.
That's just amazing.
It really is.
Power of the World Wide Web. Right?
Yes, exactly. That's the new highway, and you put your postage sign out there, and you don't know where it's going to come from.
So on this highway,
Yes.
in terms of producing a small business video,
Yes.
what would a business want to do? And I'm looking for things like, how long should it be?
Right.
What kind of content should they provide? Do they want to go all out doing computer-generated illustrations,
Right.
for instance? What is really the most effective form of video advertising?
The most effective is to remember, first of all, remember this is your road sign. So you want to keep the video out there probably about 20 seconds, 30 seconds max.
That seems really short.
It
but
does.
then again, we're talking about about the same length of time as a television commercial.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You're talking about the same length of time because remember when my grandfather put the old sign out there, the car was driving back, they only had a few seconds to see a sign and come in. On the new internet highway, it's so long, goes around the world, you only have a few seconds to grab that person that's on the highway.
Is that due to short attention span for the audience?
Well, yes, I think that's part of it, but there is so much to see out there. You could be on the internet all day long, every day, and not see a tenth of what is out there for content.
So then in a 30-second commercial
Mm-hmm.
that they're going to produce and put out on Facebook, YouTube, Google, LinkedIn,
Yes.
Pinterest, whatever,
Yeah.
Instagram and so forth, what kind of content would you include in just 30 seconds?
Right.
That's not a lot of time.
No. it's
And I
not
can't
always.
imagine that producing small business videos is like some television cable companies where you can go in every week and change it, and they just do that for free for you because you're paying for the advertising.
Right, right.
So people have to hire your services. They wouldn't do that every week for a new commercial.
No.
So what would be like prime time 30 seconds for a small business?
Right. What I tell a small business is to, again, look at the word social network marketing. It doesn't say social sales, it says marketing. And that's important because they're there to offer their experience and knowledge, something that they love and do and have experience doing. For example, that painter I mentioned before, I suggested that maybe he should be giving them hints. And one of the things he came up with is that now there are new laws about lead paint.
Okay.
And if somebody's got an old Victorian house, chances are they have some lead paint. You might want to tell them, to give them a hint about this law, and they may have to change, so they may want to take a paint chip, have it analyzed, so they can see if they need this paint that has to be completely controlled and eliminated. So let them know about that. You're not selling, you're giving some help. And that can just take 30 seconds. You can do it in 30 seconds. And as they see you helping them, they want to come to you.
Sure.
They're trusting you. You marketed, but you marketed in a way where it could help the person.
To me, that sounds like, from the business coaching and marketing aspect, it sounds like you're talking about one very small niche piece of their business. Would you look at them creating a video in order to create a niche in the market? Or would this be one video in a series that they should be listing on their website or the YouTube channel or whatever?
I suggest one in a series. That is, let's make, and when we shoot, to be effective and time worry about time and money, I tell them to come in with 4 segments. And what they do is maybe hint about the lead or maybe tell how to choose paint or other things. We'll do 4 segments of 20 seconds. And then I give them the video and I say, you have this video now on your computer. You can distribute it anywhere you want. And my suggestion to be effective is that you might put the first one out the first week on Facebook. Next week, you put the next one out until you get to the 4th, and then you'll be going into a new month. You can start repeating those over so you're seen again, because some people may not have seen the first one. Some people may have shared that with a great Aunt Maud, and now Aunt Maud is beginning to read yours, and she might share it. So do the 4, and then every week, and then start repeating and get more and more people to see you and share.
Well, they do say in sales and marketing that it takes, used to be 6 to 7 touches before a customer responds or calls your number or visits your website.
Right.
Now they're saying it can be as many as 15 or more because people just have to be bombarded. So
Yes.
I like the idea you're talking about rotating those videos. That's a great idea, but where should people put those videos? You mentioned Facebook.
Right.
But where else?
Again, if it's a professional service you're offering, I think before I mentioned LinkedIn, but I always encourage people to do 2 things. One, make sure you put it on YouTube, and make sure you fill in, underneath the YouTube, there's a title and there's tags. And if you're doing painting in the tag area, think of everything that could apply to paint, color and drying and scraping and put all of those words in there, because those tags will help people find you.
Well, speaking of tags, YouTube is owned by Google.
Yes.
And Google has a product called AdWords.
Yes.
So is that a place where people can get those tags?
Yes, it is.
Leading question, because I know the answer to that one.
Yes, it is. It's a very good place to get those words. And you want to use as many as you can, fill it up, so that people will find you.
Well, now, people can find those tags, but real quick, why? What do the tags do for them?
Well, what the tags do for them is somebody may be looking up color for the room or something, happen to find, it'll bring them up, and they'll happen to see you and find you, and they may just say, oh, this is interesting, let me click on that. And somebody that might not have been looking for it will find it. Or again, that example about the Marina Philippines, he may click on that and look and say, oh, that's what Grandma wanted to do, I'll send this to her.
There you go. So if somebody's doing a Google search for the words lead paint.
Right.
They might come across that video. It'll show up somewhere because it's been tagged that way.
Yes.
Perfect. What a great idea.
Yep.
In terms of the videos, I asked a little bit earlier, what about things like CGI?
Right.
I know that you're capable of doing that.
Right.
Should people do a fun video, a serious video? Should they add graphics and cartoon characters? I mean, really, what is being effective these days?
Right. Well, I'd say there's no one answer to that, but I would use an example of a credit union that I didn't do, but I saw. And what they did is they wrote it all themselves, employees, and they shot it themselves. And you could see it, because it was a little bit, sketchy a bit, but I think that added to it. And what the content was, is that these 2 women were in a car, and they heard the screeching brakes, and they got out of the car and looked, and there's an employee dressed in a deer outfit, antlers and all the things, and they said, oh my goodness, we hit a buck. And the other one said, I know where we can save a buck. So they went into the credit union, went through, interviewed everybody, and did that kind of stuff. But it was so, it let people feel comfortable with this credit union, and some people shared because they thought, oh, this was the funniest thing I ever saw. Some people shared it because, oh, this is a good idea, to save money in the credit. Some people shared it just because whatever, and their revenue went up 32% in 1 quarter, which was the highest raise they had ever had in the history, simply because they chose their video to be homemade and cute, not too pretentious, and let people feel more easy about going into a financial institution.
Well, you always think of talking about money and finances as being a very dry subject.
Yes.
So I think if you can add humor to it, it makes you more approachable.
Exactly.
Do you find in general that adding humor to a video is helpful to a company?
Yeah, I think so. I think it is helpful to seem more personal, and to some companies it's better, like maybe a financial institution, or maybe a mortgage institution, or maybe a home sales, where being a little bit more is better. Now, some people, unfortunately, I think, is if they're lending money or if they're doing something like that, they have to be very controlled by the industry. A lawyer has to see it 5 times before he looks at it. If that's the case, and you have to be careful, what I did with one individual is when he talked about veterans, I put the American flag flying behind him. So you get a feeling, you want some emotion in there. Whether it's humorous or otherwise, you really need emotion.
Yes.
So that's what I did. I had another person that does vitamins, and she talked about her family and her health and why she got there and how she feels better. And in her, she could speak freely, so that emotion came out of her words. So whatever you do, you really should try to get some emotion in there to show that you're a human being.
Wow, that sounds great. So advice for small business owners who want to produce a video.
Yeah.
What should they do to prepare for that?
What they really should do is really write I call it a script. It's really just an outline. And say to yourself, you know, what do I do? What would I say if I met somebody in the street and they asked me about my profession? What advice would I give them? And write that a little bit and say it 2 or 3 times so you know it really comes from the heart. Because that's really the key here. If people can see you not as a business, but as a friend, that's why the word social marketing, you know, because you're their friend and they can trust you and they can begin to let their wall down a little bit. You know, if you go to buy a new car and you talk to a salesman, there's a wall. You know, there is a wall there.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, and you want to, you know, crush that wall, bring it down, so your friends and your buddies. So the video really gives a lot of small businesses that advantage of being known. And remember, you know, huge corporations, you know, IBM or Exxon, would spend literally millions of dollars producing this. You can produce it and for low cost, and you can distribute it all over the world for free.
Well, that part about social media is fantastic, that it's all available for free.
Yep.
When you say low cost, are we talking hundreds, thousands? Really, how can a video be produced that's affordable for a small business?
Right. Well, we have little packages, and I would tell them each package usually has a minimum of 2 videos.
Okay.
One is one that may go on 2 or 3 minutes, or even longer, that's designed for your website.
Okay.
The other video is maximum of 30 seconds, and you want that for your road sign, for your you know, the social marketing, because you want to get them into your store, your website, or whatever. So there's 2 different types of videos I suggest everybody does. Now that package can go up to maybe 2 5-minute videos and 4 short 30-second videos. There's a funny thing that some people have even, to try to make it more personal, instead of using the high, really HD cameras, they want it to look like they just took it on a cell phone by accident.
Oh, so
Yep.
you're using a professional camera to dumb down the quality?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. That, you know, and you know, sometimes that's a good idea. So it looks like you just happened to be in town and wanted to say something.
The first thing I think of is the Blair Witch Trials movie.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
So somebody, oh, okay.
No, don't even go there.
I'm not even going to go there, no.
But the important thing to do and remember is that the social network marketing is now different from marketing that big companies always used to do on the TV, because that was in one direction. You sat there and watched it, and they tried to get you to there. Social network marketing is what we used to call in the computer industry full duplex communications. That is, you can send information and get information. And that's important because you're talking to people. You're giving them out, they talk to you back. And what is very, very important is don't block bad reviews.
Okay.
If you get a bad review and people say it was important to you to try to help them fix it, resolve it, and that you were concerned. You were concerned that somebody wasn't happy with what you did and you want to fix it. And if people see that action out there, regardless of what it was, they're going to say, wow, they're really, you know, about what they do.
Well, I think the audience would understand that not every business is perfect.
Yep.
And if they see nothing but 5-star reviews all over your website,
Yes.
they're going to think that something is hokey there.
Yes.
And from a sales perspective, it is actually important to be genuine
Yes.
about when you have an issue, how you corrected it. Was the customer satisfied? So I definitely agree with what you're saying on that one.
Yep. Yep, absolutely.
Now, of course, if your blog or website is filled with one-star reviews and everybody's unhappy, that's a different issue.
That's a different issue. What even then? You're going to say, take a look and say, I'm obviously doing something wrong. Let me re-examine.
I remember, since we're in videos and we're talking about bad reviews, there was, now I remember who it was. It was a pizza company, and I won't name it, but they had an issue. And they produced a video with the president publicly apologizing.
Yes.
Do you recommend that sort of thing?
If only in the case of a severe incident, probably would I come on and apologize. I think it's just your effort to try to resolve issues. But if you have maybe a very large company and there's a big mistake, coming out and apologizing may be a good avenue where they see your concern and you're out there to fix it.
I would think that gives a face to the apology, and it comes off as personal and sincere. Exactly. So you can use your videos to not only advertise, to apologize, to educate.
Yes.
Which I would think very important, especially if you're writing a blog.
Yes. The
blog should be educational.
Yes, absolutely.
So, and videos, it seems like videos are the preferable way to learn for people now.
Yes.
Reading is too slow.
Yes, it's absolutely true. People will maybe read a page of your book, but if it's on a video, they'll sit back and listen and watch. It is amazing. Well, YouTube, the phenomenon of YouTube is that people can look and watch anything they want. If they want to find it, it's out there, and they can watch it. They don't have to read it.
Well, let's see if I can summarize, as we talked about a lot of things.
Yes.
If I start at the beginning, a small business should start by writing a script.
Yes.
Thinking about what they want to say, a topic they want to present.
Yes.
They should probably include how they want it to look.
Yes.
What they want to wear, the background, and so forth.
Yes.
And you can do videos both in-house and out in the environment, I would assume,
on site, yes.
And you can create on a green screen. You can create whatever background. So like right now, I'd love to have a background of us in Hawaii on the beach.
There you go.
That would be wonderful.
Hey, what if you were a travel agent?
That's right. So you start with a basic script and outline. And then from there, they would work with you on the details about how to present it, how it's going to be filmed.
Yes.
Once it's done, it's edited, it's complete.
And if I can just interrupt you there.
Yes.
Quickly, what we do is we edit with the people so that I use YouTube on a private basis so they can see it. And on the YouTube video, if they stop it, it'll tell them exactly time and minutes. 1 minute, 56 seconds. So they can tell me, oh, I started at 1 minute, 56 seconds. Can you cut 2 seconds out? Sure. So we edit together. So I don't give them a film and say, this is your product. After we shoot, I edit, and then we go out and edit together.
You recommended doing 4 videos and rotating them, which I thought was a great idea. Yeah. And then we post it to all the social media sites. Yes. We mentioned Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, and so forth.
Right.
And do that on YouTube as well.
Yes.
Right. From there, then what?
Then what? The important thing is to, and this is really critical. I was always taught about risk management, and the thing is that if you invest in a video and you do not go and put it out on all these sites, do your research, and allow 2 hours every week to look at maybe who responded to you or put out a new video, you need to follow up, and you need to schedule that as your business. A lot of people say, I'll do anything to grow my business, but some of them don't do this, so you've got to schedule.
So it's not a set and forget.
No.
Sort of marketing. You do have to manage that and reply to the posts and respond to people's comments and possible criticisms.
Yes, it's very important. It's key to being successful.
Fantastic.
The old thing about if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it, does it make a sound?
Well, that's true. And well, there are 2 ends to that. If nobody's watching your video, you'll find no comments, no posts, no likes, and so forth.
Yes.
Or if people are and you're not following up with it, that's almost just as bad.
Yes, it is. It really is, because it indicates you don't care, or you're not doing your job, or whatever. That's bad also.
Okay. Tim, this has been so much fun to talk with you about this. We do need to wrap up. How can people, if they have more questions, contact you?
Well, then just simply contact me by email at TimBenoit@AOL.com, or my website is timprod, timberwolf.org, or my phone number. They can call me at home. I do have a business number, but my home number is area code 207-384-2785.
Fantastic. And I want to thank you very much for being in the hot seat today. It's been a blast talking with you. I've learned a lot. And if anybody else would like to be in the hot seat, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can contact me at timberwolfcoaching.com. I'm your host, Matt Randall, and thank you very much for being with us today.